there's another question that kind of this relates to as well, from Monica and Alejandra's question is that when our kids are saying like, I want to go pro, how we support that, especially when they're saying that, but their actions are not backing that up. So they're saying they have these high dreams. These are kids with big dreams, but they're not putting the time in or the effort in yet that's going to get them there. How do we show up for kids with that? Is that kind of a little bit about releasing control and trusting the process? What are your thoughts around that?
Always allow the dream to exist.
Yeah.
Whether you feel that it's realistic, it's not realistic, they're working for it, they're not working for it. Wherever there's hope and there's inspiration, that's always really positive for our young athlete children. So trying to resist dampening that in any way, I think is the single most important thing, is just allow that inspiration and that excitement and that hope to exist.
Yeah.
And then secondly, just always go back to reminding them that it's the process, it's what you do every day, the intentions that you set for that day, and then reflecting back on, okay, you said you wanted to do this today or this week, then reflect back at the end of the week, did you actually do that thing? And if you didn't, what were the reasons? What were the hurdles? What were the barriers? And then just keep reminding them and redirecting them to the process. What are you doing every day towards this dream? And really making them feel the accountability and the ownership of that, instead of a lot of parents, which we've all been guilty of it, is we want to help too much, and we want to be too involved because we feel like we know better, and so we want to inject what we think is best, but really trusting that this is their process, this is what their dream is. I'm just here to supply the tools and the strategy and the love and support towards that. But the more you can redirect with just the same language, what are you doing? What have you done? What is your plan? I'll do anything that I can to support that. And that, just leave it at that. Just be really direct and simple.
Yeah. It's tricky though, because it's like, in one sense, you want to enable them to have their autonomy and to trust them, trust the process. What are you doing? What are you going to do? But then they don't do it. So then it's like, how do you hold them accountable? And this kind of relates to, I think, maybe the mirror effect, which is one of the topics we wanted to talk about, like how our children sees themselves through our reaction. So, if our reaction is, well, you're saying this, but you're not doing that. Well, you're not, like, and we're getting upset. How can we support our child so that we're fostering confidence and resilience and motivation without doing too much and jumping in too deeply?
Great question. And the approach that I take with my own children and the children that I support is reflecting back to the child and having them inquire and get curious on their own. So the parents together, or along with a coach like myself, develop a set of questions that you can reflect back every now and then to the child to get them to discover or to rediscover or uncover maybe what is present or not present in their lives that's going to create the conditions for that dream to happen. And in this way, it allows them to answer the question instead of mom or dad shining a light on what it is that they are or are not doing. So this everything about the work that I do and that I feel really committed to is self-empowerment, self-discovery, self-reflection, because we all have the answers to what ultimately we need inside of us if we're just given the proper questions and prompts, and the environment and the conditions are created around us for that to happen.
Yeah. I think two things are coming to mind for me. One is, it's tricky as a parent when you're asking your child to reflect, you're empowering them, and their response is not what you think your response would be. And I think something that I found really challenging, especially with my son, was, I say was because, he's in college and like on his own now, but one of the things that was challenging with him was he was responding in the mentality of a 13-year-old boy. And here I was as a 40 something parent with perspective and my experiences and my life. And so, like, letting him own his responses and letting those be okay sometimes was a challenge. And that's where I think I messed up, is I then kept pushing him so that he would respond like I wanted him to respond. But
Mm,
the real lesson for him was what his response is. And
mm,
is that good enough? Does that help him and support him?
mm.
I don't know if other parents relate to that, but as you were talking, that's what I was imagining.
No, I absolutely do. And when I'm always gonna go back to self-reflection. If the child is not answering the question the way that we thought that they should or we wanted them to,
Yeah.
that's us. That's our own baggage. That's our own
Okay.
triggers. That's our
Yeah.
own insecurities potentially that are showing up for things that from previous in our life and that we know that we want different for our child. But we just have to trust, given the right situation, the right conditions, that what is supposed to show up for our child is going to, if we give them the tools and remove ourselves for the most part and just check in. Am I giving or am I taking? That's
Yeah.
another, I just want to come
Yeah.
back to that as well,
Yeah.
too, right? Am I trying to inject what I think and what I want, or am I honoring their space? Am I honoring their thoughts and what they think is best?